Good afternoon, everyone. Did you all have fun at your breakout rooms? Yeah. Excellent, glad to hear. I know what you're all thinking. The eye candy's back. Yeah, I did it twice, but same gag twice. Who knew? So I hope you had a great time so far, but this afternoon, is, if possible, could be even better. First off, we've got some lightning talks from our esteemed colleagues over here. Then we're going to have a couple of talks all about Imagine 2030. And then it's the big one. The Rylands, by the way, to make sure you all knew what we're talking about. So we're going to start off with the lightning talks now. And over here we have Leo, Nalani and Elizabeth, who are going to talk about the new disaster recovery app. But first off, we have Laura and Natasha, who are going to talk about Stock on the Move, our year in statistics.
Hi everyone, I'm Laura. I'm joined by Natasha today. As the collection development and management team, we're involved in many kinds of tasks, but for this talk we're just going to focus on the collections we've moved in the last year. Every week we handle, shelve, pack, transport and retrieve books and other collections. Let's dive right into the numbers by looking at our daily activities, our business as usual tasks. So, a total of 74,894 books were processed through the book sorter in the last year. The majority of these books were from borrowers, from site libraries, and the ones left on study desks. This figure also includes new acquisitions to the library stock, including 5,342 shelf-ready items, which our team individually checked against delivery notes before sending them through the book sorter. Of course, all of these books need to be loaded onto trolleys, sorted into the correct Dewey order, and then shelved. We've shelved 1,386 trolleys in the last year, with our busiest shelving months predictably happening around the end of the academic year and exam times. As you can see, that's May, June, and January. Store requests take on a different pattern. We've supplied 3,336 items from store over the last year, with our peak months of activity occurring during October, November, February and March. Requests are processed via Alma, then books are retrieved from the basement and to off-site stores. To transport collections between sites, we need our vehicles, and most of these journeys are made by green vehicles, which contributes to the zero carbon by 2038 target shared by the University and Manchester City Council. The cargo bike and trailer arrived last year, courtesy of funding from the Energy Saving Trust and in partnership with Manchester City Council's Zero Carbon team. We'd love to become 100% green with our transport methods in the future, but for now, our diesel van also helps us fulfil our transport requirements. So, the e-cargo bag allows us to go van-free when transporting books between site libraries on the Oxford Road corridor. We've moved 1,100 crates between site libraries and main library. As you can see from the chart, the closure of Jewel Library last summer has reduced our average monthly total. We use the vans to carry out transport requests, which includes moving collections between John Rylands and main library, and small donations from Greater Manchester addresses. We've moved 1,556 crates and individual items this year. And because these requests can be ad hoc and come from various teams throughout the library, it's hard to predict when the busiest months will be.
Our daily tasks need to be balanced with our project work, and last year we had plenty to sink our teeth into. Even though for larger projects our team does not physically move the stock, we do a lot of preparation and work hard supervising the contractors, usually Harrow Green, who undertake the moves. Last summer, Harrow Green moved 1,500 metres of books from Jewel to the basement stores at Main Library, and from there our team pulled out all reading lists material and frequently borrowed books to interfile within the Main Library sequence. This involved squeezing 850 metres of Main Library books to make the space. Harrow Green also transferred 673 metres of journals to Green 1 and a further 220 metres of lower use material to our Guinness Road store. Our next large project was to decant all of our old Pin Mill Brow store to our new facility at Guinness Road. The old store was no longer fit for purpose, and we acquired a store with expansion space for growing store collections. We facilitated the move of 4,500 metres of Pin Mill collections to their new home. And this is our lovely new Guinness Road store with 12,000 metres of rolling racking, and we've just in the process of securing more shelving for oversized material in that space. We also moved the Manchester Guardian collection. Well, Harrow Green moved it very carefully across, but I'd like to say a big thanks to the collection care colleagues who worked with our team to wrap many of the volumes. And as we're running out of time, all of the rest. So there were many other smaller projects, including the closure of Kantorowicz Library in preparation for the space to be turned into a student hub. And as well as the planned projects, there's always surprises along the way, which this year included Lenigan Library with the collapse of the moat wall. So in total, our team moved or facilitated the move of over 8 kilometres of material for various projects over the year. So that's around 5 miles of books. So in summary, it's been a very busy year, and huge thanks to the collection development and management team who've made all this happen. And you can contact us there if you've got any stock operations requests. And that's it.
Hello everyone. We would like to introduce you to the Disaster Plan app. And I'm Elizabeth, and I work in collection care.
Hi, I'm Leo. I'm a research software engineer.
I'm Nilani Ganeshwaran. I'm a senior software developer in the digital development team.
As you can see, is a project not only of it's a multidisciplinary project. That this is how we want to work as well. So first of all, I want to say that the idea was born by collection care, but it has been developed by digital development. So, as you know, we have incidents and we have disasters in our collections. It's nothing that we want, but we have to be ready for. So collection care is in charge of the guidance of what to do in a case of a disaster or incident related only to collections. So if there's anything of the coffee shop or something, it's not us, okay? Then we have a document that covers all this plan. So from what you have to take from when you get out from home to like wellies and all these things, depending what it is, to who you need to contact, and depending on your role, what you need to do. What we found is, for example, as you see, for some of you, it's you are familiarized with this image of the flood in our main library. There's a little bit of panic sometimes when we are in a situation like that, and what we want is easy information that is easily accessed. And then we thought about an app. So that document, all this document is it's summarized in the app. I know that some people here hasn't seen this document. This document actually, it has sensitive information. That's why we cannot share it with everyone. But I want to let you know that this exists. So this is the first draft. You don't have to look much about it, but basically is what I passed to digital development. With the content and more or less how it would flow. So the content, it would be reporting the incident, that you are going to hear more about it, information of the incident, so where it is, what it involves, key contacts, an important one, disaster kits, where they are with the codes and everything, and the steps depending if you are this collection salvage manager or leader or an assistant, you have there by roles. It's very easy to follow. And then photographs. You can download from your phone the photographs there, and then you can spot easily if there's one photograph that we are missing that actually is key for our records and also for the insurance company. So now Leo is going to continue. Thank you very much, Leo.
Hi, so I'm just going to talk through some of the details of the mobile app. So everyone will be able to download the app from the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. However, you will need the activation code to actually be able to access the app. Once you've entered that code, you will be prompted to register. This is so we can track who is reporting what incidents and who's uploading what images. Once you've registered, it takes you to the dashboard page, and that's where you access all the rest of the functionality and the information that's contained within the app. Now, entering the activation code and registering, you only have to do that once. You do that when you initially install the app, and this is done purposefully because you need to be able to access the app quickly if there's an emergency. So here are some screenshots from the app. On the left, you can see two examples of information type pages. Now, the information on these pages is dynamic, and it can be changed in a web app, which Nalani will talk about shortly. On the right, you first see the SMS alert page. So a message is generated automatically, and then you can then add any relevant information. Once you hit send, an SMS alert is sent to relevant contacts, and this list changes depending on the severity of the incident. Then the incident becomes active for 24 hours in the app. Active incidents are shown on the dashboard page, and you can see a log of all incidents on the archive page. So now I'm going to hand over to Nalani to talk about the architecture.
Thank you, Leo. So these are the this is architecture of the disaster plan applications. So on the left-hand side we have the mobile app, and the right-hand side on the diagram we have the web application. So we actually initially started only with the mobile app, and then we thought like how we are going to keep the data that we are showing in the mobile app up to date. So we need to curate it and make sure it's all relevant. So then only we thought if the web app is really important to keep that information up to date. So the both application use the same database, and then we have an API layer for the mobile app to communicate with the database, that is to retrieve information, for example, to show in the mobile app, and then to write the incident related data back to the database. So the web application, as I said before, as an admin tool or backend to the mobile application. So this is the landing page of the web application. So it's a CAS login, but it's for the time being is restricted only to be used by Elizabeth, so it's very protected. And so she can use this application to go and edit relevant different entities, for example, kids, location of the kids, or steps to follow during different incidents, and material handling advice, and to keep them up to date. And also this app, she can go and view different incidents and download photos and send it to insurance companies using this application. And most importantly, this application is really helpful to keep the contacts. That is, those are the list of users who use this application, and they are the one who receive a text message during an incident. So we need to make sure that that list is up to date with the correct phone numbers. So this web application part was developed by Aries in our team, in our digital development team, and then Leo developed the mobile application. He's part of the research software engineering team. Thank you.
Okay, we've got time for a couple of quick questions. If anyone has them, do you want to put your hand up? Got one over there.
Thank you. John Hodgson, curatorial practice. Question for Elizabeth and colleagues. How secure is the app? And related to that, in the very unlikely event of any cyber incident, would it still work?
Yeah, so the app is very secure. The activation code that you see is very long, very secure. You really wouldn't want to be entering that every time there's an emergency. And that is stored securely on a VM hosted by the library. And then that can be changed, and you can update the app in case of a cyber incident.
Any more questions?
Sorry, I'm in the middle.
Just to speed things up, that's Phil Reed from TLS.
Question again for you guys. Is the audience of the app any library staff member or specific people? I'm sorry if you already answered that.
It's specific people because it's it's the people that normally they receive this document. They are key personnel on a disaster that they are guiding the rest of them to, if it makes sense. Yeah, sorry.
Any more? Okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Can everyone all round the floor?
Fabulous, great stuff. So we're on to our last little bit of talks and chats before we hop onto the violins. So what we're going to talk about is what's been happening for a while now. It's been in every single meeting we've been getting. It comes up every single year. It is us. So we're going to talk about Imagine 2030. We've got the lovely Ria Sunga and Dom Hound discussing the spirit of Manchester. And then we've got Lorraine, I usually say Bard, it's Beard. Lorraine Beard talking about Imagine 2030, the Ideas Accelerator. So let me pass it over to Ria.
Hey, hi everyone. So Dom and I are going to be presenting today, but shout out to the lovely Sarah Phillips, who has also been an integral part of this project. So she's here to answer all the questions that you can ask. So ask away. Yes, that's me. Anyway, I don't know if everyone was at the March all-staff meeting, but I had a 5-minute introduction to what the Spirit of Manchester is. And I said, from a comms perspective, it is so scary because there is no definition about it. And so what Dom, Sarah, and I did was try to think of an exercise to get you all involved, because this is really something that all staff should be involved in. All your ideas are crucial to helping us define what Spirit of Manchester is. It's not really us who's going to define it, it's you. So we added to your Jamboard sessions. I know everyone had a bit of an overload of Jamboard sessions, and we just contributed to that. So we asked you a few questions. Phase 1 being, what are some of those keywords that come to mind when you think of the Spirit of Manchester? What services do we already do? And a bit of phase 2 was asking you, what questions should we be asking about the Spirit of Manchester? So today, we're pretty much going to just cover about Imagine 2030, how that links, that's Dom's part later. But at the heart of it is really what we did with those Jamboard answers and discussions that you have provided us. That was a lot of words, comments, phrases that you threw at us, so thank you for that. It was very, very interesting, but I guess to cut it short, have we defined the Spirit of Manchester? No. So please do not expect what that definition is. That will go into next steps. So I'm going to hand over to Dom to link us back to Imagine 2030.
Yeah, so I just wanted to go back and say what is the Spirit of Manchester first. So it's part of the Our Library programme in Imagine 2030. And Our Library is the programme that's for Manchester's staff, students, alumni and communities. So everybody, basically. And if you just give me a minute, I'm just going to read some of the mission and some bits, just to put some of this into context. Because you'll see what we're trying to achieve as part of the Spirit of Manchester is different from what you'll see from any other strategy or any other library, and it's something that's different to Manchester. So I just wanted to just go back for a second. So our library says that we'll provide memorable, rich and dynamic services to our staff, students, alumni and communities. So this memorable, rich, dynamic services for all our different audience groups, recognising that we also play a key role in the university's social responsibility activity. So again, it's something that's different, it's something that you won't see in every academic library. And the Spirit of Manchester, so that's the our library programme. The Spirit of Manchester specifically says that we are as much a part of life in the city as we are in the university. And that through Imagine 2030, we'll aim to increase our involvement in the cultural and educational life of our city through our tradition of radical innovation. Again, different words from what you'll hear in any other sort of university or library strategy. So, like all of Imagine 2030, there's some really big words in there, big ambitions, but there's scope for all of us to define what it is. I know Ria keeps on saying, yeah, but I need something more concrete, but this is the point of it. It's up to us to define how we do that and what that means in practice. So, as Ria said, a little time ago, we asked you what you thought those words meant, what those words meant to you, and yeah, you didn't disappoint.
Thanks, Dom. So the first question was, what does the Spirit of Manchester mean to you as a director, team, or as an individual? And you provided us with a few keywords. I don't know if you were able to see our posters. It was in the back. So if you haven't, just going to pause here for a while so you can see which directorate said a few words. So we're just going to 5 seconds to that. So yeah, there's been a lot of words that stand out, and Sarah was able to ask for what are the top 50 words that were asked, and she has made this word cloud. Now, those that are bigger, bolder, are the ones that we've seen were repeated across the directorates. Now, I just want to ask from the audience, are these surprising? Is this something you expected? Or are you just going, yeah? Any reactions? Yes, seeing some nods. For me, I guess, coming into the library, almost 7 months now. It's been 8 donkey's years. It was nice to see. It was inclusive, welcoming. That exactly was my own experience as a new member of staff, but also when I moved to Manchester, that is also the same feeling I got. So, what did I do? Library, Manchester, Spirit of Manchester.
Just on that, Ria, so there's some things in there that we saw that we talked about the tradition of radical innovation. So we've got some things there that are more historical, we've got some things there that are more contemporary, and we've got some of the words that you'd expect to see there, we've got some of the words that will link through to the enabling themes in Imagine 2030, but we've got some other things in there, Cottonopolis, industrious, industry, brave, radical, honest, approachable, some things that you might not expect to see in there, and again, I think that sort of chimes with what we want to achieve in the Spirit of Manchester.
Right, so the next question was, what services and activities do we offer or deliver that contribute to that? Now, there were over 300 comments, and so Sarah and I had to weed through all of that, and we came up with these themes. Now, these themes were more for us to make sense of all those 300 words and phrases, but you might not necessarily agree with them. You might say, oh, there's another theme that I didn't see. So you can let us know about it. I'll give you examples of what you've said shortly, but they also overlap. So here's what we came up with, and I'll let you have a read. I hope it's visible. But all of this is on a spreadsheet, and you can find it in the Spirit of Manchester folder in the Imagine 2030 sub-channel of the All Staff Teams channel. You know what I'm talking about. So it's all there. This is only a snapshot of what you wrote. It goes much longer, but couldn't fit in my slide. So I guess what stood out is that we do a lot of engagement, both public and external. So you've got the Rylands events, where we also have uni-wide, like open days, get started, and then you have access and discoverability, which is not only physical or digital, but expands into ethical cataloging, lobbying for fair principles, and using accessible formats. Collaboration, we collaborate with several other libraries. We have the NA partnership, for example, but we also collaborate with local institutions like the Central Library for the Richard Cobden exhibit, as well as festivals. So we do quite a lot already. So again, if you have any comments or something, you can put them onto that Teams chat, or you can email Dom, me, Sarah. I'll hand over to Dom.
Okay. Yeah, so because we work in a library and we work in projects, we sort of do this in phases. It makes more sense to us to plan what we're going to do. So the first phase was that. The first phase was for you to tell us what Spirit of Manchester means to you and what we're already doing that contributes to that. The second phase was to make any changes based on that, any of these things, but also to start to think about some of the questions that we should be asking ourselves. What are the questions that we need to answer to really define what the Spirit of Manchester is? And this is the next stage. This is the next phase of what we wanted to do for the Spirit of Manchester. And again, when we asked you what questions we should be asking, they seem to fit in the same themes. I don't know if that's helpful or not. I think it is helpful. So I was looking at me saying, yes, it is helpful to put it. Because we need to do, there was so many, we needed to do something there to categorise it, but there is an awful lot of information and we want you to have a look at that. So the questions, some of the questions, there was so many questions, but we just picked out some here that we thought were interesting. I mean, they were all interesting. We picked out some here that we thought we'd just highlight. A couple of points. You linked engagement with collections very closely. Whenever we're talking about engagement, it was all about engagement with our collections. And you can see that coming through on some of the questions here. But some of the big questions, I will just read through them. So, why do we engage with communities? So we've got the engagement there. Why? Whose benefit? Who are we doing this for? Why? What's the purpose of the engagement? Is it for us? Is it about things that we want to know and we want to learn? Is it for the communities? And sort of really linked to that, just going down, how do we measure the impact of what we do? So if we're doing this engagement, how do we say what the result of that engagement was? Again, for us and for our communities. Who do we currently engage with and who should we engage with? So who are we engaging with now and where are the gaps? Who else should we be doing more work with? How can we ensure that the collections that we have interact with the communities they represent and talk about? Really big question. If we've got these collections that are talking about a specific community or are being developed by a specific community, how do we make sure that people can interact with that, people are able to get access to those communities? And again, sort of linking to that, how can we remove some of the barriers to our collections? How can we make sure that people can access those collections? What do people want from us? So, it's very well as going out and saying we want to engage with the communities. Well, what do people want from us? It links, again, why and for whose benefit. What do people want from the University of Manchester Library? What do they want from our collections? What do they want from our services? And one of the questions that you asked, which was really good, with Neil being here before, is what can we learn from public libraries? Public libraries, as we heard earlier, do an awful lot of work in communities. They're based within those communities, within all Manchester's different disparate communities. And they do some really good work in there. How can we learn from them? How can we work with them? How can we partner with them? What are the opportunities there to do more with some of our public libraries? So you can see that there's some really big fundamental questions there that we need to answer. They're not going to be quick answers to some of them. They're not going to be easy answers. If you ask different people, you get different answers, probably contradictory answers, depending upon who you're speaking to. And they're definitely not questions that we can or we should answer ourselves. We need to get those answers from other people. We need to think about it ourselves, but we need to ask different people, the different communities, what the answers to these and other questions are. And we need time to do that as well. We need time to think about those answers to those questions. So what comes next? How do we do that? So as I said, it was 3 phases that we talked about for the Spirit of Manchester. The first one was what we're currently doing. The second one is what can we change and what questions do we need to ask. And the third one is what are the big ideas, what are the big changes that we want to make. So, and they're all interrelated. It's not sort of sequentially, we need to do some of these things together. And I said they're not easy to answer, and they need lots of discussion between ourselves and with our communities. But we don't want to wait until we get answers to all those questions before we do anything. These things that we can do now. So, The first thing that we want you to do is look through the information that you provided. As Ria said, it's where it is. We'll make sure that there's a link that you all get there so you can see all the information that everyone's provided. We want you to look at that. We want you to think about the changes that you can make now in your teams. Look there, look at what your team said, look at what other teams have said, speak within your teams, speak with others, think about how you can make changes now. See if there's some immediate improvements you can make. The second thing that we want you to do is think about those questions, and again, all the other questions that are on there. Think within your teams, think yourself, think with some of the other people that you work with. What are your answers to those questions? Are there things that you can do now that can help address some of those things that we talked about? But again, just to repeat, some of these need to be answered as a library as a whole. Some of them, most of them need to be answered by our communities and by other people. And we'll be asking for your help again to do this. We'll be asking, when we're looking to answer those questions, it's not something that, you know, 2 people are going to be doing. It's something that we're going to ask for all your help and support to do. And the third thing, which is linked to those questions, is what are the big changes? What are the big ideas? So we can do some things now, but what are the big things that we could do for the Spirit of Manchester? Linking it back to what I said at the beginning, the vision. What are the opportunities for us as a library to increase our involvement in the cultural and educational life of our city through the tradition of radical innovation? How can we do that? So is it buildings? Is it access? Is it access to content? Is it building networks? Is it just changing our mindset so when we're doing things we have a different way of thinking about it? Or is it something else? And again, we're going to be asking for your help to do this. So there will be more information, more to come from it. So for now, we just wanted to say thank you very much for all the information you provided, all the thinking that you did. When we put the Jamboards out, it was like, yeah, okay, if we get enough for a conference session, we might do it. And then it all came through and it was like, wow, yeah, we won't do a workshop, we'll do a plenary talk because there was so much information. So thank you very much for that. Have a look in the folder. We'll send links through to the folders where you can see all the different things that people have said. And over the next weeks and months, look out for more things that are coming through. It's not going to be like a big program, you know, where we start doing things. It's going to be lots of information coming out, lots of things that we need your help to do. So look out for more coming from that.
Does anyone want to add to the questions that we've already asked ourselves? We have a minute of your time.
Has anyone got any questions on anything that Ria and I or Sarah have said?
I mean, feel free to always send us a message, if none at this point. I know everyone's got a long day. If not, well, please join the dream team. Get involved. If not, do look at the spreadsheet, have a reflect, have a snack and chat anytime. All right, thank you very much, and
Right, thank you, Ria and Dom. Next up, we have the fabulous, the glamorous Lorraine Beard. I apologize, Lorraine Beard. I got drinking for Lorraine Barker.
Okay, thank you everyone. I'm going to start off by saying a little bit about where we are in terms of delivering Imagine 2030. So over the last 12 months, we've made a huge effort to plan and deliver on our big lead priority areas, and we've already delivered so much. I'm not going to attempt to run through it all, I'm sure you'd be glad to know, but I will just highlight some key achievements this year. So we've made changes to the main library to help our students navigate their way around, opened up membership and created many more study spaces. And so we're in a position to move forward on the next phase of our students to transform their experience of Manchester. We've developed a roadmap for Digital Library Manchester and improved some of the back-end infrastructure to ensure we can deliver our vision. We've appointed a design team to help us write the next chapter on the Rylands' rich history, addressing the many issues affecting the building and repurposing spaces to deliver our ambitions to manage our world-leading collections. We launched the Office for Open Research, which is a step change in how we work in partnership with our researchers. And we've opened our new store to manage our modern and special collections. And we're also in the process of benchmarking our modern collections against some key national and international comparators. And you've all shown at the conference today how much you've done to contribute to the delivery of our shared vision. The talks and workshops have been really fantastic and have shown the breadth and the depth of the work that everyone's doing to support Imagine 2030. And that's something we really want to continue. So the Library Management Group has been thinking about what else we can do to give people the chance to get involved with Imagine 2030 and put their ideas into action. And big shout out to Peter Wadsworth, who suggested that we put a small amount of the Imagine 2030 budget aside for this purpose. So today I want to launch the Imagine 2030 Ideas Accelerator. So this is a fund that we've set aside that anyone in the library can access if they have an idea that needs a small amount of money to get started. Anybody can submit a case, which should be no more than 500 words, to bid for some funding. And the funding is no more than £500, so 500 is the key thing to remember. And that £500 will kickstart an idea that you will be able to contribute to one of the enabling themes. So have you ever thought, why can't we, or it'd be a really good idea if we could, or I'd really like to find out more about, but you didn't know where to go because you need some money to buy something, or try something new, or go somewhere to put your ideas into action, or to investigate further so you can get more ideas. Maybe there's a group within one of your communities who you've always wanted to consult with. Is there a space that could be really improved for you or your students or your users with a small amount of money? Do you want to work together and do something in collaboration with another team, but you really need just a small amount of money to get started? So these are some of the questions that we want you to be thinking about, but we don't want to limit your ideas in any way. This will be open for the whole of 2023 and possibly into 24. So there's plenty of time, and so do take your time and ask yourself the question, what could you do to contribute to one of the enabling themes within the strategy? Of course, many of your ideas won't need money. They'll just need some of your time, and we know how difficult it can be to get time to research or implement ideas. And of course, we want to hear about those too. We're happy to have the conversation with you or your managers about freeing some time up to do things differently. And we also know that some of your ideas will need a lot more money. So again, please let us know about those as well. So basically, no limits here really. Imagine 2030 is a 10-year programme, and we still have a lot of time left. So don't limit your ideas, and do take your time thinking about this. If there is something you want to do now, we do have a web form that's going to be available for you to fill in. So I'll be sending out an email within the next, well, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, and you'll see it again in the next library update. So for now, start to think of your ideas and have a chat with others who might be able to help. And then library leadership team will look at them each month. So we're keeping on top of this, and there won't be a delay in reviewing your ideas. And remember, it's 500 words and £500 of funding. So just a reminder of how it will work. There's a chance for anybody to bid for the funds. The panel will consist of members of leadership team and library exec. We want to be as inclusive of ideas as possible, so we don't want to be prescriptive at this stage about criteria. But do try and focus on our enabling themes and link your ideas to one of them. We have a finite budget for this scheme, so when the funding is gone, the scheme will come to an end, but we'll review it and see how it's gone, and we may make it available again next year. We hope to get ideas from lots of different people to use the fund in new and different ways, and we'll let you know what the funding has been used for. If you're unsure about any of this or you'd like some guidance, please speak to either myself or to Peter or to Dom or a member of the library leadership team. But remember, this is something different, so we really want to support your ideas wherever possible. So please do get thinking and fill in the form and tell us what you'd like to do. We'll send more information out via email very shortly, and look out in library update as well.
Great stuff. Do you have any questions? I get the feeling everyone's got pizza on the mind.
Yeah.
Here, so. Thanks, Lorraine.
Okay.
Everyone give a hand for Lorraine and Leah and Dan. Now on to a very fantastic and glamorous section of I was going to say the evening, that far in. The lovely and gorgeous Rylands.
Hi everybody, is this on? Yeah, hi everybody, we're just going to take 2 or 3 minutes just to reset, if that's okay. So do talk amongst yourselves. If you're going to take a comfort break, we're watching the clock. But we just need a couple of minutes just to reset, so chill out for a second. Thank you very much, everybody. Everybody back, comfortable, nervous. Great, thank you very much. It's just been a fantastic day, as you know, just to be absolutely open. Some of us have been handling the other issue at the same time today, so apologies if you've seen us go in and out, particularly if you've been talking when we've been doing it. Please don't take it personally, but as I said at the start of the day, thanks to all the team who are handling this very difficult situation at the moment. This is the kind of thing that makes it all worthwhile, so brace yourselves. It's going to be emotional, it's going to be a roller coaster. But thank you for everything that you've all done during today. Just by way of feedback, this is only the second time that the Rylands Awards have been presented. We really wanted to do something really special after COVID, but it was, to be honest, a bit of a hit the first time round. I might have got a little bit carried away last year with the sheer number of awards and the length of citations. So Michelle's written them this year. And also, there were some technical issues. I don't know if you remember last year. Not all of them my fault. Because occasionally I turned around, forgive this, Natalie, but occasionally I turned around to look for our esteemed then Chancellor, only to discover that he wasn't standing behind me to hand the award out. In true Lem fashion, he was living his own life during our awards, which was slightly off-putting. But just to try and take out every possible glitch, Michelle is also going to move the PowerPoint forwards this year because it was no pressure. So it's Michelle's fault this year if it doesn't work. But thank you for giving us your whole day. I do hope that this is a great moment for everybody. In terms of actually handing out the awards, I'm really pleased to be able to welcome Professor Nalin Thacker, who is not only Vice President for Social Responsibility at the University of Manchester, but also Clinical Professor of Head and Neck Pathology. I thought it was neuropathology, and Nalin just explained to me that it's just from there down, not up. How Nalin does these two posts is incredible. And Nalin, you know you're an inspiration to most of, if not all of the university, so it's a real privilege to have you here. I will just note, because not everyone in the room was even with us in COVID, that Nalin also led the university off campus and back onto campus, as well as being a clinical professor and vice president for social responsibility. So he's a pretty remarkable man, and we're really privileged to have him to hand out these awards. And I'm just going to ask you to give him a round of applause in terms of welcome. Okay, without further ado, and a slight prayer, we'll move on to the first award, Michelle. See, just got that in straight at the start. This was a really tough category, above and beyond. It's one of the new awards for this year. There were 44 separate nominations for this award, out of the sort of around 100 nominations for the Rylands this year. So you could see what kind of culture we've got. Almost all of these nominations, like most of the Rylands, were coming for somebody from a different part of the library, which is a really interesting dynamic for us. But it just shows how many of our colleagues consider Above and Beyond as business as usual. And I think that goes for a lot of the University of Manchester. Would you agree? This year, we're mixing it up a little bit. So we do have an award winner who gets one of these extremely expensive trophies at vast expense. But we're also, because of the sheer number of awards, we've also decided to do a highly commended category in each award category. If you're highly commended, I'm going to embarrass you and please ask you to stand up. Not come down to the front, because I haven't got anything to give you. But you know, I tell it like it is. You know that's the way it is. You've just got to deal with it. But we would like you to stand up and get a good round of applause, because being highly commended in many of these categories is pretty remarkable. If you have been the recipient of the award, please do come down in true Price is Right fashion, waving the arms and all the rest of it. So for the Above and Beyond award in the highly commended, this person is highly commended for his unflappable can-do attitude, which has seen the Rylands through many pressures over the last 12 months, demonstrating inspiring and visible leadership to his team at all times. And I'm not sure, because he's doing that now, that he's even here. Is that the case? No. The highly commended for Above and Beyond is because he's literally doing it today, is to Dom Marsh. I'll take a moment to explain why Dom's not here. The incident has caused some issues with our fire alarms, and there are collections of fairly high value, I'm looking at Jane, fairly high value in the Rylands, and we need to keep a physical presence in the John Rylands Library. Dom typically said he would do it, so he's literally doing the Above and Beyond. The winner, though, of the Above and Beyond award this year, this person was chosen because of the extent to which he has had to step up as a relatively new member of staff at short notice to support a number of key projects. And this included the exemplary Cornbrook project, during which he stepped up to arrange last-minute filming to produce a brilliant film where he demonstrated his natural skills as a presenter in front of the camera, and also created an associated teaching blog. And he exemplifies our library with his intelligence, agility, and sheer talent. And the award this year for Above and Beyond goes to Grant Collier. Notice? Thank you, Grant. That's the kind of dissent we want. The second award is for creative approach. One of my favourite words, creative. The highly commended this year, this team are highly commended for their daily creativity in approaching the digitisation of our special collections, which often present them with unique challenges depending on their format and condition, alongside their sector-leading advanced imaging techniques, supporting research, work and projects. Our team are widely considered to be leading in this country in their field, and the highly commended goes to the imaging team. Thanks, guys. Exemplary, upstanding there. The winner of the Creative Approach Award, this team combined their creative forces to create a tool that's unique in the sector, which supports researchers in smartly tracking their compliance with open research principles. All the clues are in here somewhere. In the true Manchester spirit of openness, the software they developed has also been made freely available to the sector for reuse and adaptation. I know it's already been used by many of our peer institutions. If you needed to build an innovative, sector-leading tool, effectively something that didn't exist before, you could do no better than Ian, Tom, and Scott. The winners of the Creative Approach Award are the Open Research Tracker team. Thank you. I think Scott may be having a word with his colleagues with the definition of the word team. Okay, on to the Equality, Diversity, Inclusivity Award. Highly commended this year. This person was a really clear runner-up for the very considered and compassionate leadership she's shown in relaunching our library EDI group. Her commitment to EDI is deeply embedded, and she has significantly raised the profile of the EDI group's work. She epitomizes our ways of working with immense skill and apparently unlimited ideas. So our highly commended award for EDI goes to Jane Gallagher. This person was the standout winner of this category with no less than 6 different nominations from across the library. In total, for her tenacity in implementing the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower Scheme, which has been welcomed by staff and students across the university, and even prompted from Banji Adewumi, our Director of EDI, what Banji called a little happy dance. And if you know Banji, that's a pretty cool thing. So I'm really thrilled to announce that the EDI Rylands Award goes to Esther Miller. Another new award this year, which I'll say is Michelle's idea, one of Michelle's many brilliant ideas, and that's the, oh no it's not. And so it begins. I knew I should never have become an atheist. This award was actually my idea. The highly commended award for inspirational action is one that I feel really passionate about because it kind of defines our whole approach to getting up in the morning and what you do when you get to work. This person is highly commended for his outstanding contribution whilst on secondment to the TLS team. He's learned fast and has made innovative contributions to the team that have inspired others to think differently, and the highly commended this year for inspirational action goes to Mike Ruffley. Okay. become clear in a minute why this one's particularly difficult to read out. This person is our winner of the Inspirational Action Rylands for his impressive leadership in his first 18 months in a completely new role, managing an almost entirely new team with significant resourcing challenges whilst simultaneously building and enhancing the reputation of our metrics services within the sector. And I want to add a personal note because I'm so thrilled to see him flourishing in this role. I know that you are one of the most inspirational people we have in the library. And when I read your nomination, I was deeply moved. I was actually on a train when I was reading it. And I actually had to put the nomination down and just have a little moment. And it made me incredibly proud. And it does now that our Rylands Award for Inspirational Action goes to John Hines. Thanks, John, for making that was the one I was dreading. Okay, we're back. This idea of Michelle's, one of her many brilliant ideas, just for the recording, is a great award. Outstanding newcomer. Another tough category with over a dozen separate nominations, which is fantastic. We're so proud to be attracting such an impressive range of new staff to our library. And the highly commended goes to this person because of her positive and sunny nature, which makes her a close runner-up. She's hit the ground running in a really challenging role, making a refreshing, which doesn't begin to describe it, and positive first impression on everyone she meets, and has quickly contributed very significantly to a wide variety of library projects, including today. So our highly commended outstanding newcomer goes to Ria Sunga. This was a really tough category, actually, because it was just wonderful to read all of these nominations. The winner, this person has won for her really outstanding contribution to the revamping of the Rylands shop, as well as being universally described in the nominations as someone who always brightens your day. In the short time she's been in post, the shop has turned an impressive profit. That's for Patrick's ears. As a result of the new lines that she's introduced. And remember, the footfall in the Rylands is phenomenal. So this is a big achievement. This is a new category, and it's wonderful to welcome this person to the library, and a huge pleasure to present the Outstanding Newcomer Award of 2023 to Amber Greenall-Hefferman. See that? Our Scholarship Award is one we take really seriously. We're one of the world's great research libraries, which means we're a scholarly community as well as a supporting service across the university. We're a scholarly part and an academic part of this institution. So our Scholarship Award is a big one for us as well. The person highly commended in this category is highly commended for his sector-leading and innovative work in advanced imaging techniques, developed specifically for special collections materials. His work has been recognised by a very significant award from the Arts and Humanities Research Council's CAPCO scheme. And this is a huge thing, an invitation to give a prestigious annual lecture at the Royal Photographic Society. It's a huge pleasure to say that the highly commended scholar amongst us is Tony Richards. The winners of the Scholarship Award for 2023 are their winners for their sector-leading research. They're also incredibly brave. Their report, If Nothing Changes, Nothing Changes, is hard-hitting and compassionate in equal measure. And this report is set to be a strong guiding light for important change within the heritage sector, with over 800 downloads already and numerous requests for the team to present its findings at conferences and events. This report is already having a major impact, and our Rylands Award for Scholarship this year goes to the Race Centre team. It's great that we have Nalin here particularly to present this award, the Rylands Award for Social Responsibility. The highly commended this year is highly commended for her approach to engaging with the Sikh community on the Sikh Heritage Digitisation project. Her work has developed a strong relationship between the library and the Sikh community, which is enabling us to identify the even greater importance of some of our collections, as well as opening them up to a wider audience online. I'm really pleased that Inbel Harding is the winner of the highly commended. The winner of this award reminds us all that social responsibility goes right to the very depth of everything that we do, but in a perhaps surprising way. And I'm really pleased that she's won. This person has won this year's Social Responsibility Award for modelling the grassroots behaviour we all need to adopt to address our environmental and sustainability challenges, with her efforts to reduce the carbon footprint and plastic waste associated with IT equipment deliveries. Her work is a part of how our university came to be ranked second in the world this year, first in the UK, first in Europe, for the Times Higher Sustainability Impact Award. So the 2023 Rylands Award for Social Responsibility goes to Jocelyn Wright. Thanks, Jocelyn. Nearly there. We've got 3 of the big awards now: Team of the Year, Staff Member of the Year, and our Outstanding Professional Contribution Award. All of our awards are really important, and all 3 of these are obviously equally important, but they're really special ones for me to be able to present to you. This Team of the Year 2023, received multiple nominations across almost all other categories of awards. We don't quite know how they've done it, but they've done it. When you see their name, I'm going to pun here, they've nailed it. They've genuinely had an outstanding year. They've transformed the way we look at, use, and appreciate the John Rylands Library with their exemplary new approach to conservation cleaning, the specialist techniques, attention to detail, and above all, deep care they deploy day to day in ensuring that everything from the floors to the furnishings and the statues in the Rylands look their best at all times, are testament to the respect we hold for the most remarkable special collections library in the world. The Team of the Year is the Building Care and Operations team. I'm thrilled to be able to announce that this year's Staff Member of the Year is given this award for her work to deliver the Crawford House project, alongside overseeing several other space-related projects, which is a massive understatement, and being generally absolutely brilliant at her day job as Head of Teaching Collections, where she delivers and continuously develops the biggest e-textbook programme in Europe. She is talent and professionalism personified and is an inspiration to me and everyone who has the privilege of working with her. This award is not only hugely merited, but also comes with thanks from the entire library for her seemingly endless energy, determination, creativity, and immense impact. And the Enriqueta and John Rylands Staff Member of the Year Award 2023 is Olivia Walsby. Just so you know why there were so many cheers, Alan. Olivia's responsible for where we're having drinks later. Amongst many other things. The University of Manchester takes very seriously its position as a key part of the UK's research environment and its reputation as one of the acknowledged great libraries of the world. Through this role, the library reaches out beyond the university and our city to partners and communities regionally, nationally, and internationally. An aspect of this wider reach has been the development of our Rylands Awards, And these awards today have celebrated where our own colleagues have made significant impact, but also using the platform of our great library. The Rylands Awards recognises each year one person in our wider profession who has made an outstanding contribution to the world of libraries and collections. You may have wondered who the person was wearing a Manchester badge with Chris on it. It wasn't my badge. But typically, she's had a brilliant day with us, and a number of you will know her anyway. So we welcome Chris Banks, Director of Library Services at Imperial College London, to Manchester today in order to confer on her this award and also to include her in our scholarly community as an honorary fellow of the University of Manchester Library. Chris's Twitter bio, I promised I wouldn't embarrass you, describes her life as at Imperial by day, at London Philharmonic Choir by night, hashtag Gardener in between. Eloquent though the concision of this description is, it perhaps typically does not begin to describe Chris's achievements as a librarian, musician, gardener, and to use a formal phrase, a categorically great person. Chris studied music at Goldsmiths, University of London, and although she's now Library Director at Imperial, one of the world's most important science-based universities, music and the wider humanities have been and remain essential to her career and life. Chris is driven by ensuring access to knowledge, from music manuscripts to scientific discoveries. Chris's career in libraries began with a cataloguing job in, let's say for discretion's sake, the 1980s. Her career since then has included positions at English National Opera, the British Library, where she moved through curatorial roles in music to hold the eminent posts of Head of Music Collections and subsequently Head of Reference and Research. One highlight of this period was Chris's supervision of the merger of the music manuscript and printed music collections held then in the British Library, in the British Museum, for their move to St Pancras. Following her 2 decades of leadership at the British Library, Chris was appointed to the role that would present her with one of the rarest opportunities in our profession, to build a new university library. Her position as University Librarian and Director, Library, Special Collections and Museums at the University of Aberdeen was a defining point in her career and in her contribution to our profession, widely recognised as one of the most transformative library estates projects of our generation. Chris would no doubt call it a team effort, but as I visited her during and after the build, it was clear that her passion, inspirational presence, and sheer determination were the main reasons that startlingly beautiful library now stands. Chris's achievements at Imperial are too numerous to list, but it should be noted that after her first 3 years as Library Director, she was given the huge responsibility, in addition to the library, of becoming Assistant Provost for Space, managing Imperial's, and listen to these words carefully, space sharing programme. 3 words that would strike dread into the heart of any university senior manager. We all know how faculties and departments love to share their spaces with one another. Chris, of course, made this work, and in central London, where space is an entirely different concept to much of the rest of the sector. That same sector now holds her in the highest possible esteem for her leadership on many national initiatives, such as the UK Research Reserve, countless expert committees and boards, and most recently for her composed guidance on multi-million-pound licence agreements on behalf of all of us through Sconnell, RUK, UUK, the Russell Group and JISC. Almost always in parallel with her library career, Chris has continued to make substantial contributions to the field of musicology. In addition to her many positions on library boards, she has been Vice President of the Royal Musical Association, held numerous positions for the International Association of Music Libraries, been a specialist music advisor to DCMS, Heritage Lottery and the Victoria and Albert Museum, and chair of the Collections and Heritage Committee of the world-famous Britten Pears Foundation at the home of Peter Pears and Benjamin Britten in Suffolk. Chris has written and spoken with authority on subjects as varied as research communications, intellectual property rights, libraries as launch pads, preserving our national collection, the future of library space, libraries in a post-truth world, Russian musical archives, Henry Purcell, Edward Elgar, and Mozart. Chris's career has been long, challenging, and rich in achievement, but this award is not an end, as Chris will always be an inspiration to those who will continue to work with her and through her rich musical life, sing and perform with her. Chris is a virtuoso in both musical and library terms. Her career is testament to her ability to excel in very different fields of expertise. Chris has said of herself that she is passionate about sharing the wonder of the documentary survivors of our culture and enterprise, and about the challenges presented in capturing, preserving, understanding and exploiting the documentary and digital outputs of our present. I did mention at the start that Chris is a librarian, musician and gardener. The last of these should be noted, as her beautiful garden in London was visited in May this year by more than 150 people as part of the Telegraph Hill Festival. Go to Twitter for more details and photographs of the garden that she shares with her husband, the distinguished musicologist, Professor Paul Banks. Chris Banks is now one of the most highly regarded senior figures in the library world, revered by librarians, trusted by academics, respected by funding agencies, valued by students, feared by publishers, and perhaps most importantly, admired by and depended upon by those who know her well. Chris is the embodiment of professionalism, accomplishment, knowledge, kindness, wisdom, and frankly, pure class. It's a privilege to present to Chris Banks the 2023 Enriqueta and John Ryan's Outstanding Professional Contribution Award and to confer on her Honorary Research Fellow of the University of Manchester Library. You want to say something? She told me she'd wing it.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Are those guys on?
I'll just use my... Oh, here we go.
There we go.
We're on. We're on. Thank you so much, everybody. I cannot tell you what this means to me. You can probably tell from my voice. I love what I do. And it kind of comes down to a passion for the knowledge and the artifacts and the stories that they tell, and a desire to share that with everybody in whatever form it takes, whether it's an ancient manuscript. We had a superbly fragile ostrich egg at Aberdeen, or digital outputs, all the COVID research. That's the thread that lies through, is wanting to share and help deliver access to that. I just do it wherever I can, and as you'll gather, in the 38 years since I've been in this profession, I've just found every way that I can to try and share that, make it easier, make it more seamless, make it more affordable, make it cost-free, make it open access, whatever. This means a lot because it's from my peers. And I have had a wonderful day here. You're great. You are really great. So thank you so much. I think that's...
Thank you. So I think all that's left is for me just to say a few words. They're going to be a lot fewer than they were last year, because apparently there were too many last year. I thought they were just right, but what can you say? It's been a brilliant day, but there's been a huge amount of work that's gone into this. Somebody could have switched the aircon on, but other than that, we've been making our own fans at the front, like in school. But we really appreciate it to all of you who've been able to join us today. This is a really special day. I hope you agree that if we could do it every week, we would, but we can't because we can't afford it. But it's really worthwhile, and it's just fantastic. It's really inspirational to be able to look at effectively the whole library in one room, and I hope you feel that as part of it. I want to thank everyone who's created content, the lightning talks, the breakout sessions, the digital content, and the posters, and to everyone who's helped us put those digital events together. It's just been wonderful. I've got a special thanks to today's hosts. Paul's opening comment, I don't think will be long remembered, about just how handsome he is. It didn't need to be said, really, Paul. So I want to ask you to give Paul, Ralphs, Alex, and Ria Sunga a huge, big round of applause for today. I had a word with Frankie earlier. It's not a nice job being the photographer at an event, is it? Because nobody really wants to have their photograph taken, but you sort of have to do it anyway. So by way of supporting Frankie Broodbank, who's been just all over the place today, please give him a big round of applause as well. I want to thank the University Conference team and Media Services, Janine Ekus and our colleagues at Catering. Food was really nice, I hope you agree. And also Andy and his colleagues in Media Services up in the... I'm being given thumbs up. Can we give them a round of applause as well? I won't name you all, but I want to give a personal thanks to the Library Exec and Library Leadership team for all the thought that you've put into this on behalf of us. We really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. The library, it can't run without us, hopefully. So, me excluded, can you give Library Exec and Leadership team another big round of applause? Pamela, but you don't know what I was going to say next, did you? Pamela Morris, Deborah Morrissey, Ria Sunga, Jess, Naphthine Hodgkinson, Laura Earnshaw, Nick Campbell, Mike Ruffley, Christian Scott, Lindsay Wilson, Claire Liggins, and Michelle Sharples are the Together23 planning team, and not only have they managed all of this, but they've also been managing, and it's partly why some of them aren't here, the Crawford House experience, which is due to come. So for that amazing list of people, some of whom I couldn't do my job with, never mind a conference, can you give them a big round of applause as well? So it's just a final thank you from me for today, for the whole of this year, and for just being a brilliant library. Thank you.